व्यावर्ततेऽस्य विषया त्यक्ताहारस्य वर्ष्मिणाम् विना रागं च रागोऽपि दृष्ट्वा ब्रह्म विनश्यति. Sri Gajanan Prabhu says, O beloved King Varenya, listen. Just as a tortoise gathers all its limbs from all sides under its belly, similarly a yogi who is alert in his yoga should completely withdraw all his sense organs from the sense objects and gather them together. It is for this purpose that roles such as idleness, inertia and others should be accomplished. It is through this process that superconscious meditative union is easily attained. After having accomplished the states of idleness, etc., how does one go further in his spiritual practice? To this question, Sri Gajanan Prabhu says, as already told, it is only through capabilities attained through the sacrifice of material objects that one gets actualization of Jagrit Brahma in the form of Anna Brahma. This is understood from the experience that you are the Brahma who is completely filled everywhere. This is the inspiration derived by the yoga seeker. With this kind of determined study and practice, the power of Prana Brahma gets illuminated in his intellect. That is why he becomes conscious that I am everywhere and behind everyone. He believes it is due to my support that everything is going on. That is how his gross nature falls. After that, as a natural process, a feeling of disinterestedness arises in the yoga seeker. Since the connection to gross elements is broken, the quality of akarmas leave him completely. After that, he is able to carry on all his actions according to his will. Both destiny and inspiration are important here. There is no consciousness of any rule that is prohibited. That is why his countenance is disinterested. It is definitely worth understanding. In this manner, the tendencies of dharma and adharma, or the sacrifice of tendencies towards enjoyment, no longer remains. The condition of disinterestedness systematically melts away by itself. Thereafter, the actualization of Mana Brahma rises in the yogi. As a result, the consciousness of a manager goes away and discrimination awakens in the sense that I am not the form in everyone, nor am I the manager of all. Thus, I come to know the difference between the two. They derive that power of discrimination from me alone. With these thoughts, there is no attraction to any specific area, nor is there any tendency remaining within him. He starts thinking that he should do something to the contrary. This movement is termed as the state of a devil. In order that both types of discrimination are given up, it becomes necessary to have this movement. After getting the actualization of Mana Brahma, after embarking with that kind of determination, his power of giving up material objects goes on increasing. This is clear from the statement. Asya tyaktaharasya vishaya vyavartante. It is because of giving up of material objects that the skills of discrimination improve and becomes established. It results in the experience of Vijnana Brahma, which begins to be seen in the yogi. Thus, the influence of ghosts gets weakened. Since the yogi's desire is only to experience the essence, he has inspiration only to that extent. Therefore, there is no tendency left within him to do any specific action. Thus, one has to understand that the main characteristic of Vijnana Brahma is through experience, wherein it is possible to understand joys and sorrows. But the discrimination between them does not happen. For example, when a scorpion stings, one is bound to experience its pain. But who bit me? Or whom did he bite? He will not understand any of it. I was stung by the scorpion, and such pain is because of the sting of the scorpion. This kind of analysis is the nature of the mind, but not of science. It is the reverse. The pain due to the sting of the scorpion will not be felt by me. So, happiness and sorrow is understood by Vijnana Brahma. How and why it happened, he does not understand this, but his mind can understand the discrimination. But there is no consciousness of happiness or sorrow. This extraordinary relation of the five sheaths between each other being entangled is very subtle, but it is necessary to understand it. Without giving up the sheaths, the experience of actualization of the Atman, which is beyond the sheaths, does not take place. That is why this requires to be clarified. The experience of the Vijnana Brahma alone can make a yogi childlike in character. He explains it briefly. Little children play different kinds of games, and their tendencies are very spontaneous in nature. They do not do anything with some intention, nor do they have any gain or loss, happiness or sorrow about it. Even if someone gets angry with them or entices them, it does not affect them at all. Their only desire is for food and eating. Such is the condition of that childlike yogi as well. The only difference being that seeing the tendencies of the mind, they behave just like any ordinary human being. For this reason, tendencies such as having popular appeal, etc., disappear automatically. Until the time of death, he continues to live and behave just like any common man, after having rid himself of habits like idleness, disinterestedness, etc., if any traces of them have remained. In this manner, we can conclude that this is the experience of Brahma of Ananda Sheath. Then, the causal matter's connection to the four types of body and the ego of the conscious spirit gets burnt away completely, giving rise to the experience of superconscious meditative union. This makes him eligible and ready to be deserving of the Anna and other five sheaths of Brahma. Just as the Brahma of the awakened state is Anna Brahma, in the same way, Prana Brahma, Mana Brahma, Vijnana Brahma are all experienced in the dream state. They can also be denoted by the word Swapna Brahma. Ananda Brahma is the Saushupta Brahma. After actualization of the five Brahmas, of the five sheaths, the yogi becomes relieved of dualistic feelings, different states of thoughts, and the knowing after giving up enjoyment of material objects, and so he engages himself only in the performance of his destined karmas. Thereafter, because of his experience of steadfastness in his study and practice, the light of knowledge of pure consciousness of being dawns on the yogi. Thus the yogi has the experience of being in all three states. In the awakened state, the yogi knows and understands everything that has been seen and experienced in the dream state. All that has happened in the deep sleep state too is known to the yogi in the awakened state. How or why does this happen? In the dream state, when the body is almost like dead, the state of joy sheath remains, and that is the reason why the yogi can know his experiences of dream state in his wake state. In both the states, the essence of equanimity or indifference is the characteristic even in the deep sleep state. The pure conscious Atman is present and completely filled in all the three states. Therefore, knowledge is always shining bright there. The yogi who has the experience of the power of Atman beyond too has the same thought. It is because of the presence of pure consciousness in the wake state that a person is able to have the knowledge of all states. In the same way, there is support of the consciousness in the dream and deep sleep states as well. That is why one is able to understand those states. The meeting place or the borderline time between the wake and the dream sleep state is whether the dream is over but one has not yet woken up. Or else it could be that one is neither awake nor is there any dream. Such a state or that space is known as twilight space. In this state, one does not understand what is different and that which is not different. But definitely there is consciousness, and its experience in the awakened state of the dream state or the occurring in the mind of the residue of the awakened state in the dream all bring us to the understanding that different experiences that occur in all the three states have their basis in consciousness. Therefore, they exist and are understood in consciousness. But for that support, all experiences are null and void in enjoyment as in the dead. It is for this reason that the nature of the Atman, which is bearer of the state of pure consciousness, is strenuous exertion. Here it is possible to ascertain the experience of the state on the basis of the characteristic of first-hand experience of the Atman. But since there is no ego of any kind, love does not arise. All karma according to one's destiny, which is relevant to the dharma, according to four castes and stages of life, gets done. However, there is no attraction or greed whatsoever. With such determined study and practice, the spirit of causal matter and conscious spirit melts away, and the experience of Soham manifests as enlightenment through the divine mind of Brahma. This should be understood as the completion of superconscious meditative union. After the four types of body and their ego is given up, the consciousness too goes away, and only the divine mind is experienced. Only the awareness of the consciousness remains. In the original verse, the explanation of the stage indicated by the verse Tyakta harasya varshiman vishaya vyavadate continues. The indulgences of the sense organs, the beginning of their sacrifice, their conclusion, and the gap between them are being demonstrated. The enjoyment of the four types of body, spirit, and ego is given up, and only the Atman is experienced as self-knowing. It is only after that that the actualization of the Atman is experienced. After sacrificing all these kinds of consumption, the experience that remains too gets destroyed after visualizing of the self-knowing Atma within. We shall look into the dream sleep and the deep sleep state a little deeper in the next audio.